Before we dig in, make sure you're subscribed to Evergreen Garden and, drop a comment below telling me what you're growing this season, because this is one of those techniques that quietly changes everything about your soil if you actually use it. Today, I'm breaking down a $1 soil hack that pulls worms into your raised beds like nothing else I've tested, and I'm not talking theory here. This works because it taps directly into what earthworms are wired to seek out: moisture, carbon, and soft organic food they can process quickly. If your raised bed looks decent on top but feels lifeless underneath, this is exactly where you start. The simplest worm magnet is soaked cardboard paired with nitrogen. The core of this hack is plain brown cardboard, the kind you get free from boxes, paired with a small amount of nitrogen like coffee grounds, compost, or fresh grass clippings. Cardboard is almost pure carbon, and worms love carbon once it's damp and breaking down. When you soak cardboard thoroughly, you're creating a dark, moist, cool environment that mimics the forest floor. Adding nitrogen speeds up microbial activity, and worms don't actually eat the cardboard itself at first. They eat the microbes that colonize it. That microbial bloom is what brings worms flooding in from every direction. How to prepare the cardboard so worms actually move in. Start by removing all tape and glossy coatings from your cardboard. You want plain, untreated brown material only. Tear it into pieces roughly the size of a notebook page. Smaller pieces break down faster and allow worms to move through them easily. Soak these pieces in water for at least 30 minutes, though an hour is better. The cardboard should be fully saturated, floppy, and darkened all the way through. Dry cardboard repels worms, so don't rush this step. How to layer this hack directly into a raised bed. Once the cardboard is soaked, lay it flat directly on the soil surface of your raised bed. Overlap the pieces slightly so no soil is exposed. This is important because worms prefer continuous cover. On top of the cardboard, add a thin layer of nitrogen. For every 10 square feet of bed space, use about 2 cups of used coffee grounds or 1 gallon of fresh grass clippings, spread evenly. If you're using compost, a half-inch layer is plenty. The ratio matters because too much nitrogen creates heat and smell, which worms avoid. Moisture control, honestly, is what determines whether this whole thing works or not. So, after you've finished layering everything, give the bed a gentle but thorough watering. You want that classic, evenly moist feeling, definitely not a muddy mess. You see, worms actually breathe through their skin, and the right amount of moisture is what lets oxygen flow in and out. If the cardboard dries out, the worms will just pack up and leave. But if it gets waterlogged, well, they'll suffocate. In hot weather, it's a good idea to check the moisture every couple of days. A simple trick is to lift up a corner of the cardboard and press your fingers into the soil. It should feel cool and just a bit springy, not dry and dusty, and definitely not soggy or soupy. Now, you might be wondering how quickly the worms will respond and what signs you'll see first. Within about 3 to 7 days, you'll notice worms starting to gather right under the cardboard. If your bed was pretty lifeless before, you'll often spot the very first worm channels within a week. By the second week, lifting the cardboard usually reveals clusters of worms feeding wherever the microbes are most active. In beds that already had some life, you might even see the worm population double in a month because the conditions are just so favorable for breeding. It's not magic, honestly, it's just biology doing its thing when you get the basics right. The real beauty of this hack is that it's not just about attracting worms for a quick fix. As the worms process all that cardboard and nitrogen, they're actually producing castings right there in your root zone. Worm castings, as you might know, ramp up nutrient availability, help your soil hold together better, and boost all those beneficial microbes. Over time, your soil will hold water more effectively, drain properly, and feed your plants more consistently. After about 3 to 4 weeks, you can either gently mix whatever cardboard remains into the top 2 inches of soil, or just leave it to break down on its own. Either way, your soil keeps improving. Using this method, During planting season, you can get going without any real disruption. If you're planting seedlings, just pull the cardboard aside, just enough to dig your holes, then tuck it back around the stems, like mulch. For direct sown crops, it's best to wait until the seedlings are about 3 inches tall before you reapply the cardboard in strips between the rows. Worms really don't mind a bit of disturbance, as long as moisture and food are still available. In fact, plant roots actually benefit directly from worm traffic, because roots will follow those worm channels deeper into the soil. There are a few mistakes that can stop worms from showing up altogether. The most common one is using shiny or ink-heavy cardboard, which worms will avoid. Another issue is piling nitrogen too thickly, which can create heat and anaerobic conditions. Definitely not what you want. It's best to let the microbes do the work slowly. Also, make sure you avoid letting chickens, birds, or any scratching animals access the bed during the first couple of weeks. They'll undo everything by hunting the worms before the populations have a chance to establish. Here's why this £1 hack outperforms all those bottled soil products. You can spend money on worm castings, soil inoculants, and compost teas, but honestly, none of them create a living system as effectively as inviting worms to move in for good. This method costs almost nothing, works right alongside natural processes, and keeps improving your soil season after season. Once worms are established, they just keep working for free day and night, improving every inch of your raised bed. Just a few final thoughts for the serious gardeners out there. Healthy soil is built, not bought, and worms really are the builders. This simple cardboard and nitrogen method turns any raised bed into a living system without chemicals, gimmicks, or any guesswork. If you care about long-term fertility, resilience, and real results, this is definitely one of those techniques you'll want to use again and again. If this guide helped you, do make sure you're subscribed to Evergreen Garden, share it with another gardener who needs better soil, and leave a comment letting me know how many worms you find after giving it a try.